Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. In a word, I consider these words and the ideas therein under-discussed. Advice giving. People are typically advised to not give advice, even if asked for. So the argument goes, advice giving is disempowering, and practicable answers for the client are most likely to come from the client. I don't agree. Yeah, defaulting to listening and, if needed, asking questions that help the client generate a solution, good. But when, as is often the case, the client or friend comes up empty, if you have a possibly good solution, it's usually wise to offer it, usually couched so the client retains agency. For example, one possibility is X, what do you think? Or offer two choices and ask if he or she likes either. Dunning-Kruger syndrome. That's when a person doesn't realize how limited they are. A common example, loud and prouders, including performers, opining with certitude on public policy issues despite thin knowledge, and they're oblivious to their overconfidence. They often justify their positions based on their, quote, lived experience, even though that's an N of merely 1. Every intro to statistics student knows you can't generalize from an N of 1. Communication. First, consider your audience. What would interest them that they don't already know? And follow the traffic light rule. First 30 seconds green, second 30 yellow, which means increasing chance they wish you'd stop, 60 seconds red, stop or ask a question. Criticize rarely, default to neutrality or making the person feel good. Criticism is often more likely to generate defensiveness and antipathy than behavior or attitude change. Empathy. Its upsides are well acknowledged, less so the downside. Empathy can encourage stasis and victimhood. For example, someone is angry about their boss, their lover, even socioeconomics. Providing, quote, support, which is the Okuron word that doesn't diminish agency, can make the person perseverate on helpful anger and make them less likely to move forward. Hypocrite. For example, many people claim to value community, but act selfishly. For example, talking about themselves, but never asking about you, let alone paying attention well. Of course, some famous people are legendary for not walking their talk. For example, our environmentalist-in-chief Al Gore, whose home is a massive estate, after being shamed into green upgrades, uses 21 times the amount of energy the average homeowner uses. Many politicians praise and make taxpayers pay for public education, yet send their kids to gated private schools. Top stars are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, even billions, and most mouth concern for the poor, yet don't give even half to them. They still have a fortune while providing important help to the people they claim to care about. Judge people not by what they say, but by what they do. Optimization. I, at least, find it fun and effective to ever think, is this a good use of my time or money? And what's the sweet spot for the cost-benefit of that time or money? Redistribution or equity. That one word summarizes the dominant ethos. Across hundreds of years in the world's 195 nations, some that were colonized, some not, some majority minority, some not, certain ethnic groups are at or near bottom in achievement and top in crime. Yet for decades now, the dominant Western ethos is that we should redistribute yet more, even though, for example, we have spent $22 trillion over 50 years to close the achievement gap, yet it remains as wide as ever. And the top 1% of earners already pay 40.4% of the income taxes. Yet the battle cry demands more, per phrases like, soak the rich, even eat the rich. More accurately, additionally taxing the successful eats our seed corn. Successful people disproportionately contribute to society, from customer service to medical progress. Roses. They may have a romantic image, and the hybrid tea flower at its peak is one of nature's, actually hybridizer's, most beautiful creations. But roses are a pain, disease-prone, needing thorny pruning, and are water and fertilizer hogs. That disparagement is from someone who has grown and hybridizes roses for 40 years now. If you are going to grow a rose, consider Olympiad, a red, Sunsprite, a fragrant yellow, and Gemini, a gorgeous multi-toned pink. Chatbots, technically called large language models, LLMs, used merely as answer givers or text writers, they're anti-thinking. LLMs should be a thought partner. Ask for feedback on your ideas and drafts. Specifically ask for an honest reaction. Otherwise, they default to sycophancy, a fancy word for sucking up to you, praising in excess of what's just, criticizing rarely and tepidly. Also, while LLMs are good for aggregating information, a significant percentage is inaccurate, yet presented using confident language. Ask them, and you're not going to get a great index here, but ask them to provide how certain are you, a certitude index for their replies. So, as with humans, LLMs have strengths and weaknesses, or as my father would say, respect but suspect. Overwhelm. We normally think of the poor as being overwhelmed, but my middle class and richer clients often are overwhelmed. So many balls to juggle. It's a mystery to me how people who are, quote, limited can keep their heads above water. Yet our culture seems to reward saying, I'm fine. So overwhelm often remains hidden. Think about that the next time someone without enthusiasm says, I'm fine, let alone hanging in. Or as a client said when I asked, how are you? He said, slammed. Tomato. That may be the most rewarding plant you can grow. You can get a tomato seed for pennies or a plant for a few bucks. And within a couple months you have pounds of healthy deliciousness. My two favorite varieties, Big Beef Plus, an excellent and disease-resistant large tomato, and Orange Peruche, a multiple taste test winning orange-colored cherry tomato. Soil. It's an under-considered key to good plant growth. Give your plant air to breathe. If the soil is sandy, add compost. If the soil is clayey, add compost. And for a bonus, something called calcined clay, available on Amazon. Salon. In earlier centuries, salons were prime entertainment. People would come to someone's home, and amid food and drink, a singer or pianist would perform. Well, one modern version of the salon is Reader's Theater. Actors who don't want or have trouble memorizing hold scripts, but fully perform, maybe in costume, great scenes from plays and movies in a living room. It's my favorite activity. Performing. Key to a memorable performance is to be revealing. If you have a restrained personality, remember that you're expected as a performer to show emotion. You shouldn't be uninhibited all the time. It loses its potency, but in spots, full release is gold. Imposter syndrome. Is your feeling like an imposter irrational and so you just need to remind yourself of the evidence of your competence? Or is it a sign you need to gain a skill or pivot to a different activity? Control. We feel better when we have control, but in a life often heavily constrained, perhaps our most likely opportunity for control is in self-employment or creative output, or solo hobbies such as gardening or reading. And finally, silence. Often our asks are met with silence, so-called ghosting. It may help to realize that ghosting is today's norm, rude though it is. Of course, silence can be good. For example, freedom from noise pollution and, a personal bugaboo, freedom from cafes that are playing pounding, wailing music so loud it feels like a nightclub even at 7 a.m. In any event, those are some words that I've mused on. I'm calling this little essay in a word. As usual, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel, and certainly would welcome you taking a look at any of my 36 books. Probably most relevant to this is my book called In a Word, where I've got about 200 of, I muse on about 200 words, but all 36 are on Amazon. In any event, I thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.